I think the last couple weeks' Gospels could be called difficult. Love your enemy. I think this week's Gospel could be called dangerous. I say that in the sense that it can be easily misinterpreted. Jesus is not saying, don't try to help your neighbor who has a problem, who has something he's doing wrong. He is not saying that. In fact, the scriptures are full of places where Jesus says, you are your brother's keeper. When he says, don't worry about we're mostly adults in the building right now. We would know that if somebody had gone to Cardinal McCarrick, and I have friends who went to school at the school he taught at, and said to him, you know what, you have a problem, and you better deal with your problem, it would have saved an awful lot of trouble for an awful lot of young people, young seminarians, the Catholic Church Universal, and even Cardinal McCarrick. If someone just said, you have a problem, buddy, let me help you take that splinter, the lumberyard out of his eye, and said, let me help you, it would have saved an awful lot of trouble that will last for generations still to come. And everybody, my friends who went to that school, all say the same thing. Everybody knew the guy had an issue, but nobody had the courage or the love to go to him and say, you got a problem. You got to get help. No one did that because he's a cardinal. So he never got help. And you see what happened. Jesus did say not to do that. Now, there's a way to do that. There's a time and a place to call somebody to fraternal correction and say, there's a motive to do it. Love, not pride. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. And some of us don't have the ability to do it that way. Then we probably shouldn't do anything. But if out of love you can help somebody conquer a problem they have, go for it. If only one person had had the courage to love the guy enough, would have saved an awful lot of woes. What is Jesus saying? And here's the core of this little 5-minute talk. The challenge is if I'm pointing out her issues, then I'm not looking at my own. And that's where it becomes a problem. I can be so busy correcting you that I don't have the honesty to look at myself and say, where am I failing? And I only tell you to do 2 things in the spiritual life. I must have said these 2 things in my 18 years here 1,000 times. 5 minutes reading the Bible every day, just like God taught you. And then at the end of every day, examine your conscience honestly to see whether you had a good day or a bad day, and where do you need to improve tomorrow. We learned that in 2nd grade. Daily examination of conscience before we go to bed. Not that hard to do, but it can be painful to do. But that requires honesty, a searing look at yourself. And that can be painful, because it might mean you have to change. Some of you will remember about 6 years ago, a guard up at Waymart got stabbed to death. I was the lucky guy on call that night. Lucky me. And the doctor says to me, Father, do you have a strong stomach? I have to ask him, before you go in here, do you have a strong stomach? I said, well, Doc, I've been a priest 30 years. I can handle it. He was right. That was hard to look at. That was hard. The blood was still fresh on the floor. That was an ugly. But that's not as ugly as looking at yourself. Looking deep within yourself and saying, where's the plank in my eye? Where am I failing to love like I should? Who am I not treating right? For me, the employees who work here, do I treat them with respect and dignity? Sometimes I have to look deep within myself, and it can be very painful and very ugly that I know I'm not the person I should be. That's scarier than looking at a guy who got stabbed. It might require profound change. It's funny the church gives us that reading 3 days before Lent. Because Lent is not about giving up candy or soda. Lent is about looking at yourself and saying, where do I need to turn my life around? It's easy to give up soda. It's hard to say, where am I failing? And God, with your help, I can turn it around. With the help of God. If I'm only worried about my neighbor, I won't do that. That's an excuse, worrying about my neighbor instead of myself. With the help of God and the season of Lent, might be a good time to look in the mirror and see whether I need to change my life. Let us stand, my friends, and profess our faith in all.